Not yet. Okay,
Hey
and
everyone. So, welcome to our live session today. We are Mind Body Vault. Mari here, and I'm Allie. And today we are going to take you through an awesome class for press to handstand basics. So, we, as Mind Body Vault, bring you fitness and training and general inspiration for equestrian athletes, for vaulters, and for everyone else who's inspired to learn from the best. So Mari's going to go ahead and introduce our very special guest, and we'll get right into it.
all right. So we are so happy to have our guest here, Luca Short. He's coming to us all the way from Colombia, you guys. So we have an international vaulting star / trainer. So he's really happy to be with us today to help us learn how to do a press to handstand today if we haven't already known how, or hone that skill. So Luca, why don't you take it away?
Hi. So
You're on.
hi everyone. Welcome to this quest for the press. I hope this short session will help you understanding it and how to improve as well your handstand and to upgrade your training and so on. Okay, so we'll be moving on some exercises so you can get a better understanding of the exercise, and if you already have it, to improve it, or if you're new of it, you can like start training it. Okay, so first of all, we're going to begin with a warm-up with our wrists. So we're going to begin moving our wrists into circles outside, then into the inside. And we're going to move our wrist, closing our phalanges and moving them from left to right. Now a little bit of stretching of our wrists. So we're going to take our fingers with our contour palm and slide diagonal to push backwards, like from here. Yes. 2, 1, change. So always a good warm up for our wrist, shoulders, and legs is going to be good for every handstand, especially shoulders and wrist, because that's our basis or our main support on the handstands. Okay. So now we're going to go from kneeling, warm up our wrists, going forwards and backwards, keeping our back as round as possible. So as already said in one session that we had with mind vaulting before, we talked about several anatomic positions: elevation of the shoulders, protraction of our back, and our hips retroversion. This is going to help us to have a better shaping and alignment of the handstand. So we are going to have that in mind as well today. And as I said before, we take in mind the three positioning of our hands. This is the middle, forward, and backwards. Today we're going to see a lot going forward the handstand, because that's one of the tips for doing the press to handstand. Okay, now change. We're going to put both of our hands on stretching position, bringing our shoulders as back as possible, keeping our elbows locked. 3, 2, 1, change. Now the palms on the floor and the fingers looking to the knees, and we're going to go backwards and forward as well. Nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rest. Now for the shoulders, and a really quick warm up for them. Some shoulder taps, trying to keep our back as round as possible, our shoulders over our wrists, and our butt tight. 3, 2, 1, rest. Now shoulder shrugs. We're going to bring our shoulders up and down, just mobilizing our scapulas. Okay, rest, a little bit of circles. Okay, so we're going with the legs. So a little bit of mobility. We're going to go laying down and both of our legs up to the ceiling, straightening our knees and pointing our toes, slightly rotating externally with our legs, and we're going to swing one of the legs slightly down and up to get to the mobility of our legs. 3, 2, 1, change. Now the one that stays steady is the one that zooms up, and the one that moves is the one that goes to the lowest points to the side. So we go 10 with the left one, 10 with the right one, and 10 with both. Going into the straddle or middle split position. 3, 2, 1, and you can hold it. You can try grabbing your feet and pushing as down as possible. Trying to keep your back as straight, not round, but as straight as possible. Okay, rest. Going to shake our legs. So press hands are about transferring the weight from our feet to our hands and going up by strength. That is also very useful if we use our mobility and our flexibility of our muscles. So we're going to begin with another stretching exercise from pike position, and pointing our feet. We're going to bring both our hands up and shoulders as high as possible, and we're going to go up and down, trying to keep our shoulders up, trying not to move our back round. Okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we hold it as down as we can, and our shoulders up and our hands up, and then we rest, we pull down, and we keep our back as straight as possible, as flat. Nice. If you want to improve this exercise, you can add some blocks, yoga blocks, or some books, something that you might want to add to improve the difficulty of the exercise and the range of motion. And you do the same thing, going up and down with the little support on your feet. And then you hold it. Nice. Now we're going on to straddle position. So legs open, and we can have our arms either crossed on the head, side, or up. And what we're going to do is go up and down with our back flat, trying to keep our legs externally rotated with the hands crossed on the head, or sides, or the hot one would be up. Trying to go into the same shape as we do the handstand. Shoulders up, back and straight. We go down as possible, and we come back. Now we hold it downwards. We straight our back. We shake a bit our shoulders, and we push forward. Nice. The same as we did with the pike position. We can add some difficulty or some harder level up with some yoga blocks. Same thing with your arms up as high as possible, and you go up and down, trying to avoid your legs rotating internal. And you hold it down, opening your chest and bringing our head forward and downwards. Nice. Okay, now to build some strength from the core and from our hip flexor, we're going to do some pike overs. So our back is going to go straight as possible, and our hands as forward as we can. And we're going to bring one of our feet up and down. We do 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we change with the other one. Trying to keep our knee straight and our point very tight. And you can rest. This exercise is normal. We're doing some tension on our quads and our feet. It is normal that we have a little bit cramps, so we can shake the legs in between one exercise and another one. Now, if we've done left one and right one, we're going to do with both of them at the same time. Remember to have your hands as forward as possible and your back straight. Okay, change. Now we're going to do the same thing, but with our legs open. Remember, external rotation, hands forward, chest up, and you bring your legs up and down. 10 reps. Nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest, and you can shake a little bit your legs. And again, open and down with your back straight as possible. Nice. Okay. So now that we have our legs a little bit more mobile, we're going to go with an exercise or some series of exercises for the strength. So as I said, is a transition from the body position of our feet to our hands. Okay, so first of all, we're going to begin with laying forward the position. So from a hand plank over here with our back round and our hips inside, we're going to bring our shoulders forward as much as we can, and we're going to hold it 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. This exercise is very useful to build some strength on the positioning and on the technique that we want to have on during the up and down, as we improve as well our mobility, because we want to change the position from the middle slightly forward, and then we want to bring our shoulders back into the middle position as we go into the press to handstand. So now we're going from hand plank position to slide up, and we want to bring our back as round as possible and our hips as high as possible over the wrist, and we slide down. Repeat. Up, and we slide down. Always having our shoulders as high as possible and our elbows locked. You can do as well this exercise, then opening your legs. Both legs open, and we're going to slide forward into here and then back again here. If you want to improve or to add a little bit more difficulty, and you already have some knowledge about this exercise, you can go to reach as your highest point, and then to try to lift a little bit your feet. If you're ready for that, you can do a press to handstand, and you can do this as a warm-up. This is a good exercise, so you can slide up, and you slide up, you bring your feet up, and then you go back into the hand plank position. So remember that when we go up, we transfer the weight from our feet to our hands by opening more our legs and bringing our hips more over our shoulders. Okay? Great. Now, we're going to go from some exercises with the wall. The wall is a very useful tool to build some strength, alignment, and confidence with every handstand exercise, as we have the support of that, and we can have a better alignment and a better positioning. So first of all, we're going to place forwards looking to the wall, and our hands in the separation of like 1 or 2 feet. Okay, 1 foot or 2 feet. And we're going to place both of our hands here, and we're going to slide forward our shoulders to lean forward slightly, so both our shoulders touch the wall. And here we're going to go from the ankle to the fingertips of our feet onto the hands by opening our legs. When we go up, we want to keep our back round and to keep in contact with the wall. And then we go slightly back. So what we want to avoid is when we're up to arch our back. So we want to keep our back as round as possible. Remember, hips slightly turn inside, so we engage our core, we tie our abs, and we keep this nice position from the wrist to the shoulders to the hips, to this hollow position. This is going to help us a lot, not falling our shoulders down and not falling to an arch position. Okay, so if you're already able to go up and down, try to do more repetitions without losing the contact with your back. So you go up, you have your back in contact with wall, and then you go as slow as you can, and you go pull back in up. Okay, yeah, if at the beginning it's hard to pull your legs up, start with a shorter range of motion. Slightly, you're going to add more range of motion as you improve your strength and your legs tension and mobility, at the point that you can almost touch and go back again into the press. Okay? As well, if you feel that you don't have the strength enough to go up, you can put some yoga blocks or some books so you can add a bit of height from your feet, and it's going to be easier to go up. So both of your feet are going to go over the blocks, and from here you already have a little height gain of mobility. So you're already a little bit higher than your hands. So you slide forward, and over here is going to be easier to go up. Okay. Remember always when you go back into the handstand to go slide, to go soft as possible, so you have all the contact, all the control, and all the notion of how your legs should be moving on the kind of circle shape. You go from down, you open your legs, and then you close them. And you want to avoid piking too much or going into an arch, because it's going to change the position of your alignment. Okay? Great. So, moving on, we're going to go with another exercise with the wall. We're going to start the handstand slightly on a diagonal over here. And what we want to do is to start with a good and nice handstand position, shoulders up, hips inside, and our legs is going to go up, out, like open, as far as they can go, and back again up. As we go up, our butt goes inside and our hips get tight. We push up with our shoulders and we repeat. As down as we can and up as we can. At the beginning, try one repetition, you get down and you rest. Then, if you want to try something harder, you add some more repetitions. So, start with 1, and try 2 and 3, and you want to add more range of motion as you get more strength, trying to avoid losing the position of your back. So what we want to avoid is going into an arch while we go down or either up. This means that if we go down, we want to avoid bringing our hips or head like this. As well, if we go up, you want to avoid losing this positioning, okay? So we go down and up, trying to have this nice shape with your back. Okay? This will be this exercise with the wall. Now, to add a little bit of control and more notion of the equilibrium, we're going to do a negative movement from out of the wall and to go down as possible to reach our lowest point without the wall. Okay? On that lowest point, we go back into the wall and we open and go into the handstand position. So we start with the floor and with the wall, we go open, we go out, then we open our legs slightly, softly, as much as we can, and then we touch the wall and we go up. Every time without losing the positioning, and we repeat. Slightly down, out, open softly, keeping our legs externally rotated, not internal, but external, to avoid falling. We go down as possible, and we go up. As at the beginning, it's good if you slightly lean forward with your shoulders so you can carry the weight that is going backwards of your hips, that is the legs that are open. And as well, if you don't have that much mobility, bringing your legs downwards is going to push your shoulders forward. So this is okay, but remember when you go up to bring your shoulders back into the middle position. So we begin here, we slightly move forward, but then we want to go back into the middle position. Okay? Now, we're already done going down without the wall and then going up with the wall. Then we're going to do the contrary. We go down with the wall and then we go up without the wall. Remember your positioning and your shape with your back, your hips and shoulders. So you go down as possible, and from here you slightly push forward and up and back with the wall. Go as down as possible. Here you open, open, open and close. Okay? Always having the most control as you can get. Try avoid falling forward. we tend to fall often. Try to have 1 second of resting and to think why you are falling and how I can fix that movement and that constantly falling, so you can improve what are your mistakes during the exercise. Okay, this is good. These are two main exercises with the wall that we can practice for the press to handstand, from either a beginner level to more advanced ones. If you're already more into press to handstand, then you can have more difficulty by going out without the wall and then going up without the wall. And you can as well um, touch the wall if you feel that you're falling downwards, or as well up, and then keep on going. So we go here out of the wall, we go down as we can, and either we can touch the wall and then go out, and again repeat. And this would be like doing a press to handstand with a little bit of help with the wall. If I feel I'm falling, I go back into the wall, arrange my position, my hips, my leg tension, and I repeat. Down as I can, and then back on the handstand. Every time you want to reach, always to get your feet as close to the floor as possible, so you get a better sensation and notion on how to go from that press and then transfer of position and weight from the floor of your feet to your hands and lifting your feet from open position. Okay, this is a good, very good exercise to practice on, and here we have several different difficulties and variations and drills for the exercise using the wall. Okay, now what we're going to try is using either a box, a chair, or something with a little bit of height. I'm going to use 2 chairs, so this is going to add a little bit of height. So both of my legs are going to start on the top of the chairs. So I start on a semi-handstand position. I'm going to move my hands as back as I can, so my hips are already over my wrists, and I'm slightly going to slide my legs onto the edge of the chairs, and then to open. And I'm just going to hold it and back on the chairs, and again. So at the beginning, I recommend, if you're starting with the press to handstand, not going all the way up, but just holding half of the exercise. You go up either from the floor or either from the chairs or from the wall, for example. You go out and you stay on the middle split position, and you steady, you have some control, and you go back into the support and repeat several times, so you can have a notion of building that strength and that positioning, so you can then go onto legs, closing your legs. Okay, so after you have that notion and you build that strength and better you feel comfortable with, we go from opening our legs and then to close them. So from here, shoulders back, we open our legs, we hold 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to close as slow as possible as we can, so we have a better notion of where my legs are and how to place them and how to move them correctly. Because if I move too fast, I'm going to fall easily because I don't have a notion of where my legs are moving, and they can slightly move forward or backwards, and I'm going to fall easily. Okay, so the beginner, if you're starting, I always recommend to have a lot of control and to move like into a slow motion pattern of movement, like to have better control and better proprioception of where your legs are moving and how they should be tightening some muscles, your butt, your knees, your quads, and your feet, so you can have more control of it. Okay, so this would be the drill with the chairs. Now, to move on, we're going to use some yoga blocks. So you can start with both of them. Like here, and you can start, for example, with two of them. So you can place both of your feet on the top of the blocks, and you already have the height. I have in mind that putting some height backwards increase the difficulty of your mobility. So if you're already flexible, but you need to gain strength, this is a good exercise. But if you're not too flexible enough, maybe try two of these ones, but open, because it's going to be easier to have our legs open than close together due to the flexibility. So if I'm flexible enough and I don't have the strength, this is a very good exercise. So I can put both of my feet over the blocks, my hands down, and I already have this height gain as we did with the chairs. And we're going to go slightly from the feet to your fingertips, slightly. My shoulders lean forward. When I open my legs, my shoulders move a little bit back, and I can begin just holding it in the straddle position and going back as slow as I can onto the blocks. And then adding more height, but with control. 1, 2, 3, and you slightly go into closing your legs and then back into the blocks. Okay? As well, if you already have press to handstand over some supports blocks, yoga blocks, or either books, you can add more difficulty by adding more repetitions and less time in between your repetitions. So you do one, you go slowly up, you count 3 or either 5 seconds, then you go slightly to close your legs, then you go back into open legs and you go down softly, and then you count from, it can be 2 seconds to 5. Like, the less rest you have is going to be harder because your body is going to be already tired. So you try to go up and to keep all that tension and focus on your technique. And this is a good way to advance, do same exercise that is an easy one, but with a little bit more difficulty. Okay, by reducing the time of resting. Remember, always is much better to have a better execution than difficulty. So always try to train first your execution and how you place your legs and how you control your, than doing too many repetitions with a lack of control and avoiding falling. So after we master 2 blocks, we master the chairs and then 2 blocks, we can pass on to 1 block, either on each foot or into the legs together position. And we go from here onto opening our legs and going up. And we can hold it here and then closing back. If you want to add a little bit of difficulty here, you can try going onto the straddle position. And this is going to add some strength, negative exercise going down, so you can gain more control position. So as I'm saying about talking about going down, more control, another very good drill about it is if you already have a handstand but you cannot go up as comfortable as you feel, and you're already training the chair's position, the chair's drills and wall, you can also add the negative, going down as low as you can by going up onto kicking in a handstand, either from a lunge or jumping as you want, and then trying to go as smooth and softly as you can, like into a tempo, either holding here or going all the way down onto the straddle position. So you gain more control of the negative movement and to have better, always to improve your control and your notion of your legs positioning and so on. Okay, so I want to finish this session by giving you some more tips for people that already have the press to handstand, a little bit more advanced exercises. If you already can do 1 press to handstand but you're feeling not strong as you wanted to, try building some exercise. For example, going into the press to handstand, you go up and then going into the straddle is going to give you a lot of strength, and then try to do several repetitions. For example, start by doing 2, just onto the straddle position. You go up, you open the legs, you try to hold it, and you go down into the beginning position without touching the floor. Try to go up. So this would be like, I'm on the press, and I go up, and I try to go down a little bit and up, down a little bit and up, and then I can add a little bit more range of motion, so I can have more control. And I'm adding repetitions. Then if I feel comfortable, I can add closing my legs, going down, maybe I touch them both together, and I push up again into closing my legs. Remember, not try to either walk or to lose your balance, because you're going to memorize that the mechanics of your movement, and we want to be more focused on how you have a better execution, a better control over the difficulty of the exercises. Okay, so I'm going to move on with some questions to finish. What's my favorite drill to help the skill?
Yeah.
So hi.
Awesome, Luca. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Great.
Yeah, we do
Cool.
have some questions here that came through. I'll just show the first one that came through here. So where do you start when you have the flexibility but not so much the strength?
Okay, so as I showed you, I would say that if I'm comfortable with the flexibility, I would start training more the things that I'm not very comfortable with, that is the strength. So some of the exercises that are built for strength are all the pike overs, lifting my legs up and down, because I have that control of moving my legs. Maybe I can open my legs, but I cannot lift them very good. So this is a very good drill to build that strength as well. The negatives, I go into the handstand and it goes down as possible, having that control and tightening my core. I will also recommend to build more strength with your core, either positions of core that are built for handstands like this, or moving your legs. So you have a better strength by conditioning on your ab muscles and your hip flexor. And then when you try to go up, it's going to be easier because you have better like notion of strength during the exercises.
Got it. Okay, great. Nice. Thank you. Ali, did you want to take the second one? Oh yeah, you're yeah. So you're muted, Ali. Yeah.
I'm muted. That's
Yes.
hilarious. Okay, so you can you see that question there? Just we get a lot of questions about
Yes.
like, is it better to just stay in your handstand even if you have to step around, or would you say no matter what, just stay in one's place with your hands?
I would say as we want to focus on control and execution. If you everything that you build on your training is good to build some muscle memory. So if I always go up into a hard exercise, or I'm building some strength, or I'm building more conditioning and durability on the handstand, if my maximum duration is like, for example, 5 seconds, and I'm trying to go on to 6, but when I get 6, I start walking, I'm going to build that mechanics and that memory muscle. So it's always better to try to go on to that point. But I have a rule when it each handstand is that your first position should be your last position. So if I go up into strength, I should go down into strength on the same execution. Or if I'm going up into kicking, I should go down into kicking. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing my PR, my personal record, I should go down as well onto the same execution as control to build that mechanics and that memory, muscle memory. So that would be the answer for this question. It's better to build execution, to go up and to try to hold it, trying and avoiding losing the position and the balance, and as well walking, because walking is another exercise that I'm placing and changing the position of my balance from one joint over another one, or a bone over bone alignment, into another position. And if I don't change the position position of my shoulders in my legs are a little bit far leaning forward. If I don't move my shoulders forward or backwards, I'm going to have my body's going to have the necessity of walking because I cannot hold that weight that is far from my equilibrium point.
Yeah.
Got it.
Great.
Yeah,
answer.
well explained. Thank you. And last one that's coming through here that we'll get through is, what's your favorite drill to help with learning this skill?
I would say I don't have one favorite drill. I drive through shoulder. I think all of them are useful, and it depends and change on each person. Each of us, we have when we train, we should have a thing called like individualization. That when we train, we have different body types. We have different strength. We have different notion of learning things and the exercise and so on. So maybe an exercise that is good for me isn't good for Ali, or it's useful as well for Mary. So it changes on each person. So I would say it's always good to focus on what's the main fault of the mechanics and what's the thing that is giving me the say more struggle. For example, the person that asked about if she's more flexible or he's more flexible and he needs to build strength. So that person should go on to strength exercise because flexibility is a like a comfort zone. So
Yeah.
we have to always move on to out of our comfort zone so we can build that good programming about the exercise. So as we saw, we built some good warm up, mobility, some drills with the wall, some drills by not just going in strength but control and strength. So all of them are very useful, and if we bring them on, the better we're going to get the results. But the process is about knowing what's my most like failure point and where to target and how to improve those points and to keep on working on the other exercises.
Got it.
Like a good programming, I would say. Like
Yeah.
a balance.
That makes sense. Definitely. Balance. That is the theme of today's class. Thank you so much, Luca. We really appreciate it. You taking the time out today and teaching us how to press handstand. This definitely was the press.
Awesome. Thank you to everyone that joined us live, or if you're watching the replay. And if you have further questions, you can pop them into the comments. We'll do our best to keep this video active and alive. So thank you, Mari. Thank you, Luca. That was awesome. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
So great. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mind Body Vault, to inviting me to another session. And glad to share this information. Today we had shorter time, so it was like a lot of information. But I hope it was useful and is useful for Walter and person who want to improve and to have a better notion of how to improve of it. Okay, so
absolutely.
thank
you so much, Luca. Thank you.